This is a overview of the looking aerial photo looking down the beach. Kitten Island is in the center, just right of center. And only 2 people at the beach that day. Southport Comprehensive Plan is to provide for public access to the shoreline. Second town wharf was added and we was able to acquire the property. And we continue to seek out and obtain additional sites for public access to the water. That's kind of why we're here. It shows the town landing at New Wagon and the beach and it's it. And that's the Cozy Harbor site that we now own. '14, who knows? We, the selectmen, received a petition signed by both registered voters and citizens regard to the Ruth Gardner property, including the Hendricks Beach. For those who don't know, and I assume you do because you're here, that Hendricks Beach is not owned by the town of Southport. We have the privilege of using it. We also have the privilege of putting some additional parking spaces to accommodate the public through the kindness of Ruth Gardner when she was there using it. Properties for sale. Potential that a new owner might not be quite as gracious as Ruth Gardner was. So we were given a petition to see what the town would be interested in doing. And this is some pictures of older days. I don't know whether Sandra or Evelyn or somebody knows anything about those.
I don't go back that.
I don't think that's beyond 1901. No doubt. Anyway, this is the beach more to the, I guess that's more where you are now, Matt, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, my house is the leftmost of the 3 that are, well, actually, the leftmost of the 3.
Yeah.
It's a little bigger now, but that's the location.
Now that to the very left looks like a great big building, but I don't know, that's just the way the picture is.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
Oh, a tent? Yeah, well, tent or a ski jump, something. Anyway, this shows the steps in the foreground, which I think are probably pretty near where the end of the seawall is today. And there's a picture of Kitten Island. It shows a little bit of a wooden rail on the side of the road where there's now a seawall. And this is, I believe this is actually on the back beach where that tent we saw was earlier. Some of the kids of yesteryear. I think she turned back too. She's going to be seen that day. And one more on the back side. I think that's looking towards the salt pond, actually, I think, in the background. Is that big rock where you're floating in there? Pier?
That rock is still there on the beach.
You better moved it, huh? And this is not Hendricks Beach, but what can I say? Yeah, we're in good company in West Southport, Maine, where life is worth living. And Ruth Gardner was well known for her artistry and map making, and these are some of the things that she put out in her years, and shows Kitten Island and Hendricks Head to the right. And there's one of her paintings. One of the busier days at the beach. So Gwen was inshore that day, yes? There's another one, the yacht club was racing that day between Kitten and Cedar Bush. I guess they had a picnic on Cedar Bush with the looks. be flying a kite, I guess, my friend. There's some of our local characters. She may have not been in the 1901, but she was in this one. More Joan Britton's painting. And this was celebrating, actually, Cologne had a fireworks that night, so this is what it looked like from the beach. And there's an artist at work, or an artist's work. There. So now that you're all removed, and we haven't set a fire here, we'll proceed.
Great, this is wonderful.
What do they like? So, having done that, the selectmen have talked this over some and have had some thoughts from some of the public about what, if anything, we should do at the beach. We haven't proceeded at this point, not knowing what you people think, what you want us to do. So tonight, again, this is not a vote whether you want to buy the beach or save the beach or not save the beach, but this is, we'd like to have this is something that we should proceed with, or are we wasting our time, wasting your time? So would open up to the public and ask that you need to speak in the mic and keep it short and sweet, please. Yes.
Dick Snyder, I think that there's no question about the fact that we need to do everything we can to set this beach in town. And how we do that is, up in the air with a couple of things. I know that one of the things that was mentioned is adverse possession. Have you had an attorney look into that, or have you not got that far?
We have not. We have not proceeded with anything that costs money at this point.
Okay. Well, in case you don't know, adverse possession is a situation where if you've used the property for a number of years without objection or a statement, you can claim the property. It might be a little messy for the town to do that, but it's just a possibility. And the other possibility is if somebody here would step up and buy that property for $1 million something, isn't it? $1.4 million, and then give the town the beach, and then sell the property for whatever you can get after that, and take a tax loss. So whoever needs a big tax loss, step forward. Jerry?
I'm Bob Horn, and I'm mostly deaf. I am the most user of Hendricks Beach. I swim every day. I swim in the winter with the polar bears, and I've been swimming every single day since April at Hendricks Beach. I have now been living in the St. Andrews Village. I have a house on Squirrel, and I've given that to my children, but I've been coming up here since 1952 or 3. Hendricks is a prize, it's a jewel. My concern is, not with Hendricks Beach, but as Jerry will tell you, it drops off fast. If you go there at low tide, you can walk out by the rock.
You got a PA, you don't go home.
I can't use
That speaks real loud.
Okay, if you go out there at low tide, you can go out beyond the rock. But if you get there at high tide, you think the water is just going to be the same. And I've seen kids go out and disappear because it does drop off fast, about 10 feet out. It's not an easy beach to understand. And my main concern, I told it to Jerry years ago, is the rock island should be out of bounds by everyone. Because in the high tide, it's slippery, and I've seen little kids now coming out on these rafts and on the kayaks, and they walk up there, and they jump in, and if they slide and hit their head, I am thoroughly afraid of that rock island. And if the new owners are concerned, they should put a sign that says, "No trespassing ever." I don't know what's going to happen to the beach. I hope we have a good discussion, but I just wanted to give you my 2 cents worth. And the other situation is if it becomes public, there isn't enough parking. There won't be enough parking for the 3 months because it's a very big draw. And that's another issue, but I won't get into that. Thank you. Thanks, Jerry. Thank you.
It said that cold water affects hearing too.
I can't hear you.
Anybody else? Yes.
Steve O'Brien on Maddox Road. I was just wondering, have you talked to anybody at the Maine Community Foundation, and perhaps they could put you into contact with some conservation groups who may be interested in preserving shorefront property, or they have experience what other towns have done in such a situation, might give us some guidance on things we can do.
I have not talked to that group. There was some discussion from the Boothbay Region Land Trust, a member, not officially the group that was inquiring about it. I've heard nothing back as to what the proposal.
Hi, I'm Sandra Tebow. I've been going to that beach since the early 40s with my mother as a child. And I still go, love it, relaxing, and I hope we can do something with it. Thank you.
Others?
Good evening. I'm Tom Shannon, and I'm one of those guys that's thrown away. But the wonderful lady that just spoke talked about swimming at that beach as a child and still using it to this day. Please take no offense, but there's a lot of gray and white hair in this room. And part of the discussion needs to be the children. Now, I have 4 of them. They're age 28, 26, 23, and then 14. We had a good weekend, they're late in life. And when they're coming up for their visit in the summer, every one of them, just like my friend John's 2 young children, Nate and Sarah, they start counting down the days. And it's about that beach. Part of the fabric, part of the culture of your community is the beach. It's going into the general store, whether you need anything or not. It's just fun to go in there. It's sailing camp over there at the Southport Yacht Club. It's something really darn special. And when we picked a place to buy property in Maine, we started at Eastport, Maine, and we broke up the coastline in 100-mile chunks. And on our 4th 100-mile chunk, we found Southport, and we said, we don't need to bother with the rest of the nonsense Southport. And that beach is a big draw, and it's real special. And like those of you that jumped off that rock as a kid, I think we owe it to the future generations of Southporters who will follow us to let them enjoy that very special treasure.
Amen. Others?
Jerry, I just have a question, because I don't know. My name's John Ricker, and I also am an outsider. But one of the draws was buying property here was that beach. is it straight line? Is that, my understanding was there were 3 separate parcels that comprised that beach. Was that entire beach now in play, or is it just the house and the lines from that out? What is the property that's being mentioned?
The property entails the main lot. Let's go through this picture, shows better. That shows what is shaded in green is the main lot with the house on it, and then there's a little small wedge on the about dead center of the screen that's on the edge of the seawall towards the lighthouse, and then Kitten Island. Those are the 3 lots that, is my understanding, is for sale.
No, that's not a lot of the beach. Really?
Well, those are the lots, not the beach per se.
Is it an old style deed where you own out through the mean low water with those original?
I don't know that. We haven't gone that far. Whether the deed goes to low water mark or not, I don't know.
I mean, you couldn't own it now.
Right, nowadays you can't buy that, but in the old days, some of the older deeds were that way.
So no one's done a deed search as to what it is yet.
No, we haven't gone that far yet. Other questions, comments?
I forgot to mention that the school kids use that beach too. Yeah, they go down there. I mean, for some of their studies and things.
Thanks, Jerry. And Grimes. I think it's good that we're here because we can back up what I hope is the wish of the selectmen, but they need to know the citizens are behind them if they make a move on this. And I think there are a couple of things. One, I want to say, you'll never get another chance at that beach if you let it go. And Southport has the draw. That does draw people to Southport. And that's good. That's good. We want to be known as a friendly community. So I support you. I think one thing that would be interesting to find out is how much would the beach be without the property across the street, the house. And but I'm sure there are many things that you have to investigate. And if you need us to come back, just holler. We'll be here.
Very good.
Very good.
Thank you.
I actually am also from Hawaii, but I also love that beach too. But the question that I really had is, who owns the other non-green areas that are on either side? Because I think the beach, as I have seen it, comprises more than just that green area.
Well, that's correct. Those show the 3 parcels that we have assessed, but the largest piece that you see extends across the road onto the beach side. So if you extend the green line, the greens down on either side, that carries down across the beach, more or less. That's not an official deed. But that doesn't give us a whole bit of that seawall.
Jerry, I don't think that, but the data sheet that the broker has on the property says that there's 240 feet of beachfront. Right. Okay. You come here, down, and here, down, that's the beach part you're talking about. From here over is not. That part of the beach belongs to others.
Where the little tiny green wedge is part of the parcel that's for sale, correct?
That's one of the.
Right, but that green wedge is beach.
No, it's above it's along the seawall.
Between the road
by
and
the road that goes out to the lighthouse. That's where that wedge is.
That's the poison ivy patch.
All right, thank you.
The seawall ends, it actually begins about here and comes back this way to where this is the rocks as you're coming down the hill. The rocks are right here. So from here over, like I say, that and here here, that's the beachfront you're talking about, to this point. The rest of that beach is not in play. That's not what we're talking about.
Minister, Jerry, what is the formal process for the selectmen vote to go ahead and act on a long-term plan and try to repossess or own this property?
Well, if the consensus is that we should proceed, then we would initially have our representative talk to the seller and extend that we have an interest in getting some sort of a, I don't know the term, but we could have a contract with contingent upon a town vote or whatever would be a start. I think probably, as much as I hate to say it, we probably have to engage the services of the lawyers. My apologies, anybody that is. That would be the first process, and then, we'd have to decide whether we want to negotiate the price, or we think it's ours and we're going to take it. That's just off the cuff talk. Things we have to explore.
Well, when did the selectmen may take that vote?
Yes.
What valuation does the town have this assessed for, just the beach part?
The beach is not assessed. The property, the larger green property, is assessed with the beach section as part of that, and that is an influence on the assessment price. But the beach itself is not on our assessment. That's essentially what.
Separate assessment?
No, it's beyond below the high water mark, and we don't assess those lands. It definitely has an assessment contingent on the fact that you're looking out in the Sheepshead Bay, but the land itself, that's the beach, is not. Kitten Island is assessed.
It is assessed?
No, but not the land that's covered in the water.
What assessment do you have on Kitten Island?
$4,000.
Jeannie, I actually own the abutting property to the right on the picture here of the green.
You actually hold that in your mouth, we'll be able to.
I'll try to hold it. Thank you. Two questions. I did look at the assessor's map, and on the assessor's maps, it appears that the little green wedge down there is separate from the main property, and its evaluation, I couldn't remember what it was, but it's about the same as Kitten Island. That's what I remember. And that's probably the only part of the beach that you can see if you have one of the high tides that we've had recently. My question was whether, in fact, the town property, which is the road down there, I believe, effectively just simply sits in front of most of the Gardner property. It would be accurate to say that they do own beachfront property there, but maybe only the green wedge. And I was hoping the selectmen could say something about the ownership status of the road itself.
Well, Mr. Snyder alluded to originally, to begin the meeting, the seawall was replaced in 1978. And there was a seawall there prior to that, when we had the storm that took it out. The town, with FEMA funds, built a new seawall and had the concrete cap put over it. We have since repaved that whole section twice, and the section on the north side of that road, we have increased some of the parking area. Actually, when I was road commissioner, Ruth Gardner let us extend the section there. We gravelled it in and put some split rail fencing up to help. That was horizontal as opposed to parallel, or parallel parking as opposed to diagonal on that side. So the town definitely owns the road. And I personally think that we own the seawall that we built. We have a 2-rod right-of-way through there, and I haven't been down to measure it. But the bottom line is that we have very few, if any, deeds for our town roads that go back before people worried about it, I guess. So the question, I guess, becomes, where is that 2 rods that we own? I say we own the seawall because we fixed it, we built it.
And you maintain it.
Again, if lawyers become involved, then no.
I would say some law, your side of your road stops on the inside of the seawall.
Inside the land side or the...
In the land side.
What's a rod, 16 feet or so?
16 and a half.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Steve Bornick. I'm the representing realtor for the property. And it's our understanding that when the seawall was rebuilt, that Ruth Gardner had gave the town permission to build it a little closer to the water so they could create that parking. So currently we're doing a survey that will show, hopefully will show the exact line. And it's believed that that line is going through the middle of the parking spaces now. So that seawall is literally on the deeded property of the Gardner property. That's pretty much, I think that's most certain. It's just how far outside of the seawall the survey will show the property consistent.
Has all been maintaining plans that road?
Yes, we
Maintained it?
Yeah, we plowed and paved
And you
it.
maintain that beach access there, the steps, the dog poop, from litter removal, is the town doing all that?
Yes, yeah, we did it back when Ed was.
The gardeners and the family not paid.
No.
Okay.
Others? Yep.
Jim Gavin. Have the current owners been contacted in terms of maybe there's a tax incentive for them to donate it or?
We have not proceeded with any contact with any of the owners or any legal questions. Again, we're just feeling our way along to see what the people want to do. So this is why we're here tonight. And go on from here.
You want a proposal for a recommendation for the selectmen?
I'm not taking proposals anyway.
Linda Murphy, and I just wanted to add on a couple things. One of them is I would love my grandchildren playing at this beach. But the other thing is for so many people on Southport that don't live on the water, this is their beach. And I have noticed when I read the real estate ads, it will say quick walk to the store and beach. I think it increases the value of everybody's property and the quality of everybody's life, including waterfront residents who said, yes, but I'm going to take my grandchildren to the beach when it's my swim.
Gwen Cole. I just wanted to ask, because I think I remember Ruth Gardner telling me that she tried to give the beach property to the town in years past, but it was a liability issue, and I just wanted to see if that was...
Not in the last 30 years.
Okay. She's been there since the 60s. And is that a concern for you now?
No, we actually checked with our insurer, Maine Municipal Association, and they said they will treat it as a recreational area as long as we don't put out infrastructure, float piers and that sort of thing. And we put out a sign that says sharks. All right.
interested in just the beach or interested in the whole Gardner property? And if they are, has anybody figured out what it would cost tax-wise over so many years, you know, like the Pratt property?
We've just tossed things around. I mean, comprehensive plan-wise, perhaps we want to have more than just beach. I mean, there's obviously for those who live down there and those who frequent it, it's a death trap in the summertime in terms of life safety and get an ambulance or a fire truck down there. So there's definitely considerations that way. I don't know. Do our children, our grandchildren want to have a park down there? I'll tell you later, I guess. Dollar-wise, I mean, I'm not here to talk dollars because that isn't where we're at, but this year we will raise about $2.5 million to run the town, school, and everything else that goes along. And if we were to acquire this, it could be as much as a third of that. And if you're paying $1,000 in taxes and you had to pay it all in 1 year, 300 of that would be out of that $1,000. More than likely, if we did something like that and spread it out, I don't think we'd do it all at once. And unfortunately, unlike the Pratt property, we had the luxury of having a water system that was in good financial status. So we actually borrowed the money from the water system to purchase the Pratt property, and we no longer have that. In fact, we're probably going to have to borrow some money to get through the year because of that. The playing field has changed a little bit since then.
Is that zone residential?
Yes.
Okay.
Doesn't the land trust own the lot right, just touches the southeast corner of Ruth Gardner's lot? Wouldn't it be, a good opportunity to talk to them about increasing their?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, that we've had a contact from the land trust, to say not officially from the leadership, but there's an interest in what they might be able to do as well. Haven't furthered it, but yes.
Well, what do you need to go forward?
How much you got?
I think it's safe to say that we didn't want to do anything until we had a chance to do this. We wanted to have a chance to come before you people, talk to you. I can say for myself, that is one of my most sacred places on the planet. I bring people when they come here, I take them down and I say, I want you to look at this. There are places in the world that are as beautiful. There is no place more beautiful. I don't want to see this lost. I don't want us as a community to lose that. But it's not up to just Jerry and I and Mary Lou to make that decision. It's up to you folks whether we want to move on this thing. If we did, there are many things we could do. We could turn it into a park. We could sell off the major part of the property and recoup most of the monies. There's a lot of options here. I will tell you, Smith Limo doesn't want to see this beach lost. I want to see this remain open to the public. But that's just me. It's really up to you guys.
Yes, sir.
Would it help if you had a show of hands just on people who think you should go forward? Would that give you a sense of what people would?
Actually, I was going to ask for an adjournment. Everybody got to walk out. I think it was in favor of it.
We're all in favor, I think, every single one of us, Jerry.
Yeah, I think it's appropriate.
You know, it's just, as the doctor used to say, it's just like chicken soup. It might not help, but it couldn't hurt. You know?
Yes.
Is there an issue of time? Suppose somebody came in tomorrow and said, I want to buy it, and then lost it.
Yeah, that's always that.
Certainly that's an issue.
So we really got to move fast on this to get our plan in motion.
Having said all that, I guess I would ask for a show of hands for those who favored the town pursuing this, contingent on, obviously, a town vote. So if you're in favor of us proceeding, please so indicate. That's pretty close, but I guess. Thank you very much for coming out, and we'll stay tuned. Thank you.
For having us.